This is Shuttle Ground Operations, and what we're viewing is a tape replay of the crew egressing their crew transport vehicle. This occurred about 20 minutes ago when the crew first stepped off the vehicle onto solid ground. Looking at a dozen long stem roses that are being given to Elena Kondakova, mission specialist on this flight, by her husband, Valery Ryumin, who is the Phase 1 director of STS-84, the Russian space program. All crew members have been reported healthy by their initial medical evaluation, and all but Jerry Leninger have departed the crew transport vehicle for their brief walk around. On the right is, of course, Commander Charlie Precourt, who just completed his third mission into space. The other crew members, of course, Carlos Noriega, Edward Liu, Eileen Collins, Jean-Francois Clairvoy, are also chatting with our NASA administrator, Dan Golden, who flew down last night from Washington, D.C. to witness the landing this morning. Again, the crew being greeted in this tape replay as they have just being shown disembarking from the crew transport vehicle, and they'll be making their way over to the orbiter to take a look around under the vehicle, look at the tires, main landing gear, the thermal protection system, which is always of interest to the crew once it's been their home for the past number of days. They're 9 days in space, and it has safely brought them through the atmosphere to a landing back at Kennedy Space Center this morning at 9:28 a.m. Eastern Time. NASA Administrator Dan Golden has with him a dozen tulips he'll be giving to Jerry Leninger, who made the request. So that he may then give them to his wife, Catherine, when he sees her next at their crew quarters. Again, mission specialist Elena Kondakova and her husband on the right, Valery Ryumin, who is Phase 1 director for the Russian space program. Commander Charlie Precourt on the extreme left, and a number of other current astronauts. On the left here is astronaut Stephen Hawley, who is a frequent flyer on the space shuttle. Clairvoy on his second flight, standing and talking with Elena Kondakova. Crew making their way over to the orbiter while the destow continues of the flight crew equipment. KSC Center Director Roy Bridges chatting with the members of the STS-84 flight crew. Again, Elena Kondakova with the bunch of roses given to her by her husband. And Commander Charles Precourt, who is also a colonel in the United States Air Force. A good shot of Valerie Reumann talking with Commander Charlie Precourt, with Elena Kondakova standing next to them both with her gift of roses. Again, landing occurred just about 2 hours ago. This is a tape replay of the crew as they have exited the crew transport vehicle and are making their way around the orbiter Atlantis as it sits on the shuttle landing facility. Following this walk around, the crew did go to a microphone, and Commander Precourt made a brief statement. We'll be hearing that coming up in the next few minutes. And of course, meeting with some of the ground crew who assist in making sure that the vehicle is safe after landing and preparing to tow it to the orbiter processing facility later this afternoon. Carlos Noriega, Elena Kondakova, and on the extreme left there is Jean-Francois Clairvoy. Of course, one interesting aspect of the orbiter as it lands is that are the main landing gear tires. These tires are weigh several hundred pounds, but they're only used once. The nose wheel tire is used perhaps twice, but the main gear tires are only used once. They are removed after each flight. The brakes, of course, are of a carbon-carbon compound. They're a new improved brake from the original orbiter's brakes, and they have been designed so that they can go without serious servicing for several missions before needing to be overhauled. This is one of the enhancements that has occurred on the vehicle over its lifespan. Also, the thousands of tiles that surround the vehicle, individual tiles and individual spots on the orbiter, protect the vehicle as it comes through the atmosphere, dissipating the heat quite rapidly so that it's cooled to the touch just moments after touchdown, as can be witnessed here as Elena Kondakova and Charlie Precourt. Uh, Look at them. Again, they're speaking with our center director from Kennedy Space Center, Center Director Roy Bridges, who is a shuttle veteran himself. Seen here on the right is Jim Harrington, launch director, as well as Bob Seek, who is the manager for space shuttle operations at Kennedy Space Center. Bob, a former launch director himself, is speaking with Elena Kondakova. Center Director Roy Bridges speaking with pilot Charlie Precourt. Again, they're standing under the Space Shuttle Atlantis, which just landed about 2 hours ago back at Kennedy Space Center. This is a tape that was recorded during the post-landing press conference of the crew as they walked out of the vehicle. Of course, at this time, in real time, they are back at their crew quarters, meeting with their families. But this is a tape that was taken during the briefing that we are replaying now at this time. Shortly, Commander Charlie Precourt will approach a microphone that has been set up on the landing facility and make a brief statement describing just briefly how he feels and what it was like, this mission, how he terms its success. Ken Cockrell was the STA pilot, or the shuttle training aircraft pilot, our weather coordinator pilot for this landing today. And of course his input gave mission controllers a great deal of information as to whether the weather was going to permit a landing today, which it did. He also flew as commander on mission STS-80 last year. And again, the microphone has been set up at the shuttle landing facility, and Charlie Precourt is making his way over to it at this time in this taped replay. And as members of the crew begin to gather for their brief statement before we close out this tape, again, they speak with NASA Administrator Dan Golden, standing near the nose of the orbiter Atlantis, which just spent the last 9 days in space. 5 of those days docked to the Russian space station Mir, during which time we picked up mission specialist Jerry Leninger, brought him back to Earth, and left on board Mir Michael Foale, who will stay on board for the next 4 months. Jerry has remained aboard the crew transport vehicle as expected. At this time he is now being driven to his crew quarters, but during this tape replay, of course, he remained, or during this segment following landing, he did remain aboard the vehicle as preliminary medical evaluations were being conducted, as is always the case when our astronauts remain in orbit for lengthy periods of time. Commander Charlie Precourt will be making a statement at this time.
You want me to wait, take pictures?
Take a picture away from the microphone, maybe. Maybe flowers, Elena? I still have mine.
Hello, everybody, and thanks for coming out to watch us bring a great shuttle back to Earth. We're very happy to have had the opportunity to bring Jerry home, and I can report that he's up and about, feeling really great, in good spirits. Mr. Golden delivered him some flowers, which he'll pass on to his wife. That was his one request for landing, which is a pretty simple request. So he's very excited about getting back to our quarters where he can meet his wife. This crew did a wonderful job. We had a great opportunity to work with our colleagues on the Russian Mir, and things worked like clockwork for us, and couldn't have been a better flight all around. Made some great progress towards working together for the International Space Station. Thank you very much for coming out.
Again, that was mission commander for Space Shuttle mission STS-84, Charles J. Precourt, who commanded this flight, his third flight into space, and he is now standing with 4 other members from his crew: Jean-Francois Clairvoy, Elaine Collins, Elena Kondakova, and Carlos Noriega.